Hello my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. Today is Wednesday, which means we've got another book talk video for you guys. And I'm very excited about this particular book talk, my friends, because today we are talking about 5 of my favorite scary books. These are books that will keep you up at night. These are books that will have you looking over your shoulder to Bernard. Bernard actually put his 2 cents in with these selections, but in the end I was able to overpower him because he's very tiny and made just of bones. So let's just get into this. Let me start by saying that there are no Stephen King books in this video. 2 weeks ago I did a dedicated video to him a couple months before I did part 1 to that video, and I didn't want to get repetitive. So even though some Stephen King books would make it into a top 5, there's one, but I left that out so we can just move on. So 3 of the books are kind of classics, and then 2 are more recent releases. So we're going to start off with the classics. And my friends, I don't know how you can do any better than this, but the first book I want to talk about is 8 Tales of Terror by Edgar Allan Poe. Like, what's there to say? Edgar Allan Poe, clearly the king of terror and madness. The thing about Poe's stories are that element of madness. You read them and you're scared, and it all feels crazy, and it works together to make something truly terrifying. So I would recommend this. I actually had a copy of this book years and years and years ago, and then I lost it. And then when Anna was in, I think, grade 3 or 4, she brought home one of those Scholastic book order sheets, and this was on there for like $1.99. And I was like, reunited, and it feels so good. So yeah, I'm not going to say too much about that. There's, I think, 8 Tales of Terror, 8 stories in here. They're all very creepy. Definitely give it a read if you can and if you get the chance. What I will say is sometimes they can seem a bit slow, and you really have to pay attention. You have to focus. It's not a light read. It's definitely a more focused read, but it's definitely worth it. Next up, Rosemary's Baby. Now, this book is so scary. It's the tale of a young newlywed couple who live in New York City, and they're looking for a place to live, an apartment to live, and they've had their name on the list for this apartment in this beautiful old building, and they really want to live there. But, you know, they're on this list and it's taking forever. But one day when they're out looking at another apartment, just about to take it, their names come up and they're offered an apartment in the building. And they take it. And after they take it, the girl, Rosemary, she has lunch with one of her friends, an older gentleman who's kind of a father figure to her because her family is very far away and she's not really close with them. So she has lunch with him, and he kind of straight out begs her not to move into that building. He tells her the history of the building, that people who live there tend to get murdered or kill themselves or something horrible happens. And she's just kind of like, we've been dying to live in this building. Like, it's fine. Those were all just coincidences. We're gonna be fine. Famous last words, if there ever were any. So her and her husband move in, and they make friends with the elderly couple who live next door. Anyway, I don't want to give too much away. This was also a movie starring Mia Farrow. So if you've seen the movie, you'll be familiar with the story. But this book is the kind of book, there's no big spooks, big scares. It's a slow build, a slow burn. It starts off and you just constantly get more and more and more uneasy until the finale, when it's just horrifying. So definitely Rosemary's Baby, check that out. Next up, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I love Shirley Jackson. I love her so much. This book came out, I'm just going to double check the date here because I can't entirely remember. I think it is, yeah. So this book came out in 1959. Shirley Jackson has written a lot of great things. My introduction to Shirley Jackson came when I was in high school by way of a short story called The Lottery. And it was handed out to us to read by my favorite English teacher of all time. And we read it, and the first time you read The Lottery is a very interesting experience. Subsequent times you read it, you know what's coming, but that first time you just don't. And so what it is I guess it's kind of as a mean of populations control in a small town. There's a lottery, and the winner of the lottery gets murdered. And so you don't know what's happening. So that was just, I remember that being such a startling thing. And a few years later, when I came across this book, I read it because I love haunted house stories. That's my favorite kind of scary book, haunted houses. It's the thing that resonates the most as something that I would find truly terrifying. So this is about a haunted house. It's about 4 strangers come to a secluded house to meet up with a doctor, like a doctor of the occult kind of, and he's looking for solid evidence of like hauntings and psychic paranormal experiences. So he's bringing them to the house to record what happens. And it's just... Eleanor is the main character, kind of, and it deals a lot with her experiences in the house. And just as time goes by, more and more just chilling things begin to happen that they cannot explain. And then it begins to affect their psyche. Haunting of Hill House. It's so good. This was made into a movie multiple times. Most recently, I think it was in like 97, and it starred Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones, Lisa Taylor, is that her name? If you can watch the original, I definitely recommend that. It's just super spooky, and the book is really good. I also loved that, Shirley Jackson, she was a woman writing these really kind of scary, raw stories of controversial material back in the 40s and 50s. So I was always really drawn to that. She's a fantastic writer. Next up are our 2 more recent releases. The first one is by Chuck Palahniuk. I kind of mulled over which of his books to put in. He's the writer of Fight Club and a lot of other spooky stories. The one that I went with is Haunted, and the cover's horrible. It's super spooky, and seeing it in the viewfinder is like, let's not show that for too long. The really spooky thing about this book cover, which I didn't know until I discovered it, was it glows in the dark. So one night I was reading, blanket pulled up to my chin, turned off the light, glanced over, and that face was glowing in the dark. But anyway, it is, this is a collection of short stories, kind of. It's about a writer's retreat. So a group of writers come to this kind of secluded area. Isn't that how it always begins? A secluded area, secluded house in the woods, cabin in the woods, lost in the woods. Stay away from the woods, you guys. But anyway, a bunch of writers come to this retreat, and these are the stories. Some are really scary. This book is not for the faint of heart. So unless you're really into spooky things, and if you're familiar with Chuck Palahniuk at all, you'll know if that book would be right for you. But there's some fun stories in there, and it'll definitely get your heart pumping, your blood flowing. And finally, this was a kind of bargain bin, spur of the moment purchase. Well, not bargain bin, but I was at a store where they had kind of a 2 for $20 sale going on, and I had never heard of this book, and I just picked it up on a whim, and that is You by Caroline Kepnes. I hope I'm saying her last name right. Anyway, You is about a young man works in a bookstore, and one day this beautiful woman comes in, and to him, he's just instantly swept away. Like she is everything that he's been wanting. So he takes note of her name on her credit card when she's making her purchase. And this is the age of, social media, and everyone is all over the internet. He's able to find out a ton of stuff about her. He finds her Facebook page. He can see what she's doing, who she's talking to, who she's friends with, is she dating anyone? And he obsessively begins to collect information about her life. But more than that, he begins to obsessively orchestrate events in her life, events that lead her to him. And it's so creepy and so eerie and so terrible. It's a great read, and it's beautifully written. There are passages that are just so beautiful. It's really interestingly crafted and put together. It's unlike anything I've read in quite some time, and it's excellent. And I bet you could get this on Amazon for pretty cheap. So that's going to be it for today, you guys. I hope you found this interesting. I'd love to hear what your favorite spooky, scary, Halloween-themed books are or stories. And I think next week sometime I'm going to be doing the Halloween tag, as well as a video dedicated to my favorite Halloween movies. So you got that to look forward to. I feel like I'm running out of time. I feel like October has come and gone so quickly that I might actually start uploading a few more videos a week. So maybe 4 videos a week for the next couple of weeks, just so I can get all of my Halloween themed videos in, but also some regular ones. Like I think on Friday I'm gonna have my Fall Beauty Empties video. So there you have it. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys on Friday. Bye.